Here are the top stories for today, December 23, 2019. President Duterte orders a ceasefire with the New People's Army or NPA this holiday season amid plans to resume peace talks. Malacanang says the latest Pulse Asia surveys belie the false narratives of the critics of President Duterte. Several suspected bombings hit Cotabato City and Libungan, North Cotabato, injuring at least 19 people. And the Philippine Military Academy or PMA wins the first ever silent drill competition. Good day, I'm Roundup. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Our top story, President Rodrigo Duterte has ordered a truce with the New People's Army this holiday season. The call was made in preparations to resume peace talks with the communist rebels amid continued efforts to address insurgency. William Theo with this story.
President Rodrigo Duterte has ordered a unilateral ceasefire with the communist guerrillas this Christmas season. The president decided to observe the annual tradition to suspend military operations against members of the Communist Party of the Philippines armed wing, the New People's Army, over the holidays. The temporary ceasefire will take effect from 12 a.m. of December 23rd and will end until 11:59 p.m. of January 7 next year. Duterte made the declaration as he wished all Filipinos to enjoy quietude and serenity as they celebrate the holiday season with their loved ones, free from violence or disruption. The decision came upon the recommendation of Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III, State Negotiator Hernani Braganza, NDF Negotiating Panel Senior Advisor Luis Halandoni, and NDF Negotiating Panel Chairperson Fidel Agkawili. The representatives from the national government and the Communist Party said the ceasefire should help generate a positive environment conducive to preparations for the resumption of peace negotiations. Duterte on December 3 announced that he will be giving the Communist Party another chance as he sought the resumption of peace talks with NDF consultants. Meanwhile, all units of the Armed Forces of the Philippines has been informed about the unilateral and reciprocal ceasefire. Despite the ceasefire, the AFP will remain on alert to respond to any threats, he said. For the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo.
The Philippine National Police remains on alert to thwart any possible attempt by the New People's Army to sow violence during the holidays. This even as President Duterte ordered a holiday ceasefire with the Reds. PNP spokesperson Bernard Banak said they will remain at the highest level of security and stop any attempt by violence to be carried out by the NPA group. He said police stations have been reminded to strictly monitor the security situation in the respective areas to prevent any movement by armed groups and attempt to launch any attack or violence. The ceasefire takes effect from December 23 this year to January 7, 2020. Interior Secretary Eduardo Año said the PNP would remain vigilant as he urged NPA rebels to surrender and go back to the fold of law. In the past years, the CPP usually announces a unilateral ceasefire during the holiday season, which coincides with the anniversary of the NPA on December 26. Malacanang said the recent surveys by private pollster Pulse Asia have debunked what it called fabricated and false narratives against President Duterte. The palace welcomes the results of Pulse Asia's December Pulse, which showed that 87% of Filipinos approved of Duterte's performance and 93% of Filipinos are welcoming 2020 with hope. Presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo said Filipinos are united in continuously supporting the president in his programs. He said the president's latest approval rating goes against the negative press made by Duterte's critics. Panelo assured Filipinos that the government would continue working harder, especially since genuine, meaningful, and positive change is being felt by the majority. He said the president has invested in his political capital wisely through the push for difficult but game-changing reforms like the train law and the Build infrastructure program. Panelo also bragged that the Duterte administration is making headway in its poverty alleviation efforts as poverty incidence dropped to 16.6% in 2018 from 23.3% in 2015. Government troops have rescued 2 Indonesians abducted by the Abu Sayyaf terrorist group in Sulu. Meanwhile, the PCSO announces plans to launch new games in 2020. More on these and other news around the metro from Lade Kabagani.
2 Indonesians abducted by the Abu Sayyaf in September were rescued early Sunday in Barangay Pugad, Panama, Sulu. The Indonesians Maharudin bin Lunani and Samyon bin Manio, along with other Indonesian Muhammad Farhan, were kidnapped in the sea waters of Lahad Datu Sabah last September 23. A soldier and an ASG terrorist were killed during the rescue. AFP spokesperson Edgar Arevalo said the military vowed to continue its operation against the terrorists even during holidays. Meanwhile, the Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office is looking to introduce new games in 2020 to raise revenues for charity programs. Aside from finding ways for their existing games, primarily the Lotto and Small Town Lottery, to earn more, the agency said it has to introduce new ones to raise more funds for charity. Their focus next year would be on sales and marketing in order to generate funds to support more government projects. The PCSO welcomes new game proposals and has even streamlined the process for private gaming firms to submit proposals. In other news, in an effort to curb firecracker-related injuries for public health and safety, Malacanang encouraged Filipinos to use alternative noisemakers like toy trumpets to welcome the new year. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panela hoped the public would observe a safe new year by avoiding the dangers of using fireworks. A total of 139 firecracker-related injuries were recorded by the Department of Health from December 21, 2018 to January 5, 2019. On October 28, the President said he would let local executives exercise their discretion in implementing the ban on firecrackers in their respective areas, pending the passage of a law. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Lade Kabagani.
Still to come, several suspected bombings hit Cotabato City and Libungan, North Cotabato, injuring at least 19 people. Malacanang says serious flaws in the justice system must be rectified to prevent a repeat of the acquittals in the Maguindanao massacre case. More on these when we return.
Kailangan ibalik ang ROTC. Dahil gusto kong pahirapan ang mga bata, anak natin. Kung hindi, para sa kanila yan, you have a duty to perform to your country when you grow up. It is your duty to defend the identity and the preservation of the Republic. So we need to revive the ROTC. It has to be mandatory. I likewise encourage Congress to enact a law that will require mandatory ROTC for grades 11 and 12, so you can instill patriotism, love of country among our youth.
A powerful explosion occurred between a local radio station and the Cotabato Cathedral in Cotabato City on Sunday night, while 2 blasts also rocked Libungan, North Cotabato. The first explosion took place just outside a moving passenger jeepney passing by in front of radio station DXMS, followed by a series of gunfire. 2 other suspected improvised explosive devices were also found in the area. 9 soldiers and 5 civilians were reported injured. In Libungan, North Cotabato, radio reports said at least 5 persons were rushed to the hospital following a roadside blast near the Libungan Bridge. The first explosion injured civilians in front of a roadside store, while a second explosion left no casualties. North Cotabato Governor Nancy Catamco and Cotabato City Mayor Frances Cynthia Gianni Sayadi have strongly condemned the separate bombing incidents in their respective areas. Meanwhile, in Maguindanao, an explosion also took place at the site of a trade fair in North Upi Town at about 9 p.m. Sunday, injuring 2 victims. Malacanang said the acquittal of some 56 accused in the 2009 Maguindanao massacre case proves there are serious flaws in the justice system that need to be corrected. In a statement, presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo said the rule of law has prevailed following the promulgation. The palace, however, notes that there are serious flaws in the justice system that must be rectified to be fealty to the rule of law and due process. Most of those acquitted were policemen, alleged members of the Ampatuan family's militia, and members of the clan accused of orchestrating the crime. Judge Jocelyn Solis Reyes of the Quezon City RTC Branch 221 ruled that the accused police officers were deemed totally innocent of the crimes charged against them. Meanwhile, Datu Ahmad Ampatuan and Datu Sajid Islam Ampatuan were exonerated because of lack of evidence. In our business news, optimism among businessmen rose in the fourth quarter of 2019 due to the holiday and the harvest seasons. The confidence index under the Business Expectation Survey rose to 40.2% from 37.7% during the third quarter of the year. Respondents attributed their optimism to higher consumer demand during the holidays and the harvest season, increase in sales, orders and projects, more favorable macroeconomic conditions, higher government spending, and business expansion. They also cited the positive impact of the country's hosting of the 30th Southeast Asian Games. On the other hand, confidence index declined to 1.3% from the previous quarter's 4.6%. Respondents traced the drop to higher prices of commodities, low or no increase in income, increase in household expenses, and high unemployment rate. The respondents said they were saving to prepare for emergencies, health and hospitalization, education, retirement, business capital and investment, and purchase of real estate. Over 100 members of the New People's Army have surrendered to the government amid continued efforts to defeat insurgency. More on this from Joyce Goodis.
5 members of the New People's Army have surrendered to authorities following a series of operations in Nueva Ecija. The 5 rebels yielded to government troops on December 19 in the boundaries of Barangay Labi, Bungabon, Nueva Ecija, and Barangay Villa Aurora, Maria Aurora, Aurora Province. They revealed that the continuous hardships, internal discrimination, and false promises from NPA leaders have prompted them to go back to the fold of the law with their firearms. In Surigao del Sur, intensified military campaigns and the implementation of the whole-of-nation approach convinced 123 New People's Army rebels to go back into the fold of the law and start a new life. The Army's 36th Infantry Battalion cited the support of the local government units in the area and the government line agencies that made the surrender of the former rebels possible. The rebel returnees are now enrolling in the government's Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program. Meanwhile, 579 members of the Kapatiran para sa Progresibong Panlipunan Incorporated received livelihood assistance of 50,000 pesos each from the national government on Friday. The recipients were from the Tabara Paduano Group based in Negros Occidental and Panay, which is finalizing the closure of its peace agreement with the government. Presidential Peace Advisor Carlito Galvez Jr. said the national government has plans and programs for the organization after going through a long and difficult journey toward peace. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Joyce Goodis.
Up next, the Philippine government asks for the help of Saudi Arabia in the repatriation of nearly 200 distressed OFWs. And the Philippine Military Academy wins the first ever silent drill competition. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Nagsimula nito, bayan siyang nananalaytay sa iyong dugo. Damhin ang alab ng iyong puso. Tiyay at si Manny nagsimula nito. Ipagpapatuloy ang laban mo. Pilipinas kong mahal, alay ko siyang buhay ko, hanggang matapos ang mundong ito. Luzon, Visayas,
In other news, the Philippine government has sought the assistance of the Saudi Social Welfare Agency in the repatriation of nearly 200 OFWs. Presidential Assistant on Foreign Affairs Robert Borge and Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Sara Lo Ariola met with Mohammed Ibrahim Halal, SSWA Director General of the Ministry of Labor and Social Development on Saturday. Malacanang said the SSWA and the Philippine Consulate General agreed to step up collaboration to help distressed OFWs for their eventual repatriation. The palace said Borges stressed the important role of the SSWA and the timely repatriation of Filipino migrant workers. Borges also lauded the long-standing partnership between the Philippine Consulate General in Jeddah and the SSWA. In November this year, the Philippine Consulate General in Jeddah rescued 5 distressed OFWs, 3 of whom were reportedly victims of sexual assault by their respective employers. The city of San Jose del Monte in Bulacan established a new Guinness World Record for having the most number of living figures joining a nativity scene. A total of 2,101 took part in the nativity scene held at the Altraza Spine Road in Barangay Tungkong, Manga in the city last Friday. Swapnil Dangarikar, the official adjudicator of the Guinness Book of World Records, made the official announcement after the staging of the Birth of Jesus Christ scene. Lone District Representative Florida Robes said the new record is a testament to the unity and commitment of the people of San Jose del Monte. It was also in accordance with the apostolic letter of the Pope encouraging Catholics to display the nativity scene in their homes and in other public places. This was the second Guinness World Record for the city of San Jose del Monte, the first being the largest lantern parade on September 19, 2017. In sports, the first Palarong Pambansa of the new decade will happen in Metro Manila. Marikina City was recently named the new host of the annual sports meet among elementary and high school student athletes after Mamburao, the originally designated host town for 2020, begged off. Mamburao and the entirety of the Occidental Mindoro province were heavily affected by Typhoon Tisoy, which made a direct hit in the entire Mindoro Island. Education Undersecretary Revsi Escobedo, the Secretary General of the meet, was to send a management team to the Marikina Sports Center to inspect the venue and some other areas that could host some games. This will be the first time Marikina City will host Palarong Pambansa, while it will be Metro Manila's 5th hosting gig, but first since 1966. The Philippine Military Academy bagged the championship in the first ever presidential silent drill competition. The PMAers dominated the competition held on Friday, December 20 at the Quirino Grandstand. The Philippine National Police won second place, while the Philippine Merchant Marine Academy won third. President Duterte hailed the success of the competition and directed that more silent drill performances will be held in the future. He said the silent drills instill discipline and show respect to the country and the national hero, Jose Rizal. He also stressed that the event aims to convince the youth to participate in the Reserve Officers Training Corps, or ROTC. For its part, Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief Noel Clement said members of the teams that vied for the championship have shown discipline, stamina, precision, teamwork, camaraderie, and esprit de corps. Other participants included the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific, Philippine Air Force Officer Candidate School, Philippine Army Officer Candidate School, and the Philippine Navy Officer Candidate School. Take another look at today's biggest stories. President Duterte orders a ceasefire with the New People's Army or NPA this holiday season amid plans to resume peace talks. Malacanang says the latest Pulse Asia surveys belie the false narratives of the critics of President Duterte. Several suspected bombings hit Cotabato City and Libungan, North Cotabato, injuring at least 19 people. And the Philippine Military Academy or PMA wins the first ever silent drill competition. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check more news content, check our webpage or follow the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government, how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags on all our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Rom Dulfo. Good day.